Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar. My name's Lenny, I have my co-host here, Jake Zaratsian, and today we're gonna be covering advanced product research for selling on Amazon. But firstly, Happy New Year everyone. This is our first webinar for the year, and I hope everyone is staying healthy and safe. Today we're streaming here from home, so we've got a little bit more of a cozy webinar for you. But without any further ado, let's get straight into it. Jake, do you want to quickly run through what we're going to be covering today?
Yeah, absolutely. So today's agenda includes product research tips and tricks specifically for 2022. And a lot of what we're going to share today will be new strategies that we're sharing here on the channel that we typically don't walk through. And these are going to be free and paid strategies. So even if you don't have the Jungle Scout platform, you can still use what we're teaching today. There's going to be a lot of free strategies here that we're giving out. And then at the very end, stay tuned. We have a Q&A planned. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and actually ask them right now in the chat. You don't have to wait until the end, but we'll answer your questions officially at the end in the live Q&A. So I hope you guys are excited. And if you're ready, Lenny, should we get into the first strategy here?
Yeah, that sounds like a great plan. And just to reiterate, if you do have any questions, make sure to jot them in the chat, and we might answer a couple along the way, and certainly we'll answer some towards the end. So yeah, let's take it away, Jake.
All right, just real quick before we do jump in, we did post a new poll in our community tab, and you can find that by going to our channel and going to community. The question here is, which Amazon business model do you want to learn more about in 2022? We really want to hear your guys' feedback. We have around 300 votes so far. The majority of you guys did vote private label FBA. About 55% of you want to learn more about that topic or business model. And that's certainly the most popular. So we'll continue to have more content available for private label FBA. But a good amount of you guys did vote for wholesale at 19% so far, and then even drop shipping, retail arbitrage, and merch by Amazon. And we have some exciting news. We are going to release some new videos in the next month or so on those topics. And we want to continue to gauge your guys' interest on certain topics and business models. So make sure you come back and check out this community tab here on our channel pretty frequently. And you can make sure that you always see those by subscribing to our channel. So looking forward to hearing your guys' thoughts on which business model you want to learn more about this year.
Yeah,
now,
it's
without
definitely
further ado,
yeah, I was just gonna to pipe in with a quick note there that yeah, thank you to everyone that's already voted, and that's super helpful for guiding us in terms of what you want to learn about. And the strategies that we're going to be covering today will apply generally, to a lot of these business models. So yeah, keep that in mind. Alrighty, Jake, strategy number one.
All right, strategy number one, guys. We're going to look at products here with high demand and low competition. And this is a general strategy that we do teach here on the channel, but there's going to be a few different ways that we get there today that we don't typically walk through in our previous videos. So in this section here, strategy one, there's going to be a few tools and resources that we go through. We're going to first start with the Amazon bestsellers page. That is a great way to find interesting products, or at least spark the ideation process for you. We're also going to go through the Amazon brand analytics that you can find in Seller Central to find some products there. Demand and competition calculator. We're going to throw that. It's a free resource for you guys. We're going to throw a link into the description after the video ends today. Once it goes live, you'll see that link in the description that you can use, and we'll walk through that today as well. You can also use the Jungle Scout free sales estimator that we'll be walking through today. And then some Jungle Scout tools that we'll go through in this section will be the browser extension, the product tracker, and the category trends tool. So let's go ahead now and jump into the Amazon, the bestsellers page strategy. So I have a tab pulled up here with Amazon already pulled up. And what we're going to do now is go to the bestsellers page here. You can find it right over here. Click bestsellers, and it'll bring you to this general page here where you see a bunch of bestsellers. And in this case, we have baby products that show up first. You can scroll down and see clothing and shoes and jewelry, it looks like, camera and photos, and so on. So this page right here is Amazon's most popular products based on sales. And this is updated hourly. So you can see that description right here. And again, updated hourly. So this is pretty dynamic. It will change. But for the most part, the products at the top here should stay at the top for a pretty long time. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through a strategy that we found to be super helpful. And let's go ahead and do that now. We'll utilize this list here. You see any department. We can choose a bunch of categories. And so let's go ahead and do sports and outdoors. Pick that category here. And we're not going to stop here. And the reason why is we want to niche down as far as we possibly can. So we could stop here and maybe sell a sweatshirt or some pants here. But again, we want to really niche down. So we can pick one of these categories. Let's go with outdoor recreation. And from here, once that loads, again, we can niche down even more. You can do camping and hiking, climbing. We're really looking for a specific category. We want to get weird a little bit here. And if I look through this list, paintball is pretty weird. Water sports, winter sports. So what do you say we do paintball, Lenny?
Yeah, I like paintball. Let's go there.
Okay. And so we can niche down even more here. So we see some masks here that definitely don't look like paintball masks, but we can see we have the option of going through clothing, barrels, all this equipment for paintballs. Helmets could be interesting. Let's go through helmets here. And that is the last line of defense here. So we're now at the furthest niche that we can. And again, we started in sports and outdoors. We made our way to outdoor recreation. We chose paintball because it had a little bit of a weirdness factor there. And then we could have picked any one of these categories. It's probably best to go through a ton of these categories, or subcategories, I should say. But we stopped here at helmets. And then we're going to run a search on Amazon for paintball helmets and try to gauge the demand and competition levels of this subcategory. So we know what we're looking for. We're looking for paintball helmets. Let's go ahead and copy this, paste it, and search for it on Amazon. Okay. So to gauge demand and competition on Amazon, we look at a few things. For demand, we look at sales. And we typically like to look at monthly sales. And for competition, we look at reviews. So we can get our reviews right here. We can simply just copy and paste our reviews. But for demand and getting sales, it's going to be a little different. So we do have this tool I mentioned earlier that you can use. We'll throw a link down in the description in this video after this video does get uploaded. But it's this demand and competition calculator here. And you'll take the top 10 products, the idea, and insert the monthly sales and reviews here. And we have a formula set up here. What do we look for to gauge demand on Amazon in terms of monthly sales is the top 10 products in the niche. Whenever you run a search like we just did here, the top 10 non-sponsored products, so we would remove this sponsored product here from the calculation, we want to see an average of 300 monthly sales or more. And basically that equates to each product having around 10 daily sales. So again, to determine demand, we're looking at monthly sales, and we want to see our target be over 300 for the top 10 products. Now, for reviews, to gauge the level of competition, we want to find that the top 10 products have an average of 500 reviews or less. So no more than 500, because that would be a little bit of a higher competition category. And those are our numbers. You can certainly play around with the numbers here. Maybe you go up to 400, or maybe even go lower than 500 for reviews, or even higher there. You can certainly play around with this number, but that's typically what we recommend here. So I'm going to go ahead and just rename this paintball helmets. And let's go back now to this search results page. Let's go ahead and open up this first product, and we can go ahead and actually just copy over the reviews here. So 326, I can insert that into the reviews here, 326. And now to get the sales, you can use a free tool. If you go to Google or your browser of choice and you type in the Jungle Scout Sales Estimator, again, this is a free tool, and it's usually the top, it's up at the top here. So if you click it, you can actually access this on mobile as well. Again, this is completely free. So you'll come here, and the way to estimate sales with this tool is you'll need 3 pieces of information. The first piece of information is the best sellers rank of the product. You also need the Amazon Marketplace and the product category. So we know we're selling in the United States. In our example, you can certainly choose any other marketplace listed here. And you can also choose the product category. And we know we chose sports and outdoors. So we come down here and choose sports and outdoors. And now for the bestseller rank, how you would find that is you go to the product that you're looking at. In this case here, you scroll down to the very bottom. And in this product details section, you'll see the best sellers rank listed here. And we want to take the one at the very top. Again, we're looking at the sports and outdoors category. So we're going to take 44,000 there, back up to the free sales estimator tool, insert it here. And then you want to actually remove the comma that will sometimes mess with the estimation here, and click estimate sales. Okay, 240. So that's the estimated number of sales per month for this product that we just looked at with 326 ratings. So if we come back over to our calculator here tool and insert that number here, we now have that for one product. So we have our sales and reviews for that one product. Now, what we would want to do for this entire niche is we want to go back to the search terms, or I'm sorry, the search results, and do that for the top 10 products here. So we'd want to, again, grab that review, that review, that review, and then again, go back and enter the bestseller rank for each product. Now, there's a much faster way of doing this. You can do that for free. If you have Jungle Scout or you're thinking about getting Jungle Scout, there's two ways that you can do this much faster. And so the first way of doing it is actually opening up the Jungle Scout extension. And so if we pull that up here, if you're new to the extension, you'll see a bunch of data here that is really awesome. I can expand this further, or I can even slide over and see certain things like this product's weight, the listing quality score, the rank, the fees, the product fees, the rating, and so on. There's a bunch of helpful information here. You can hover over each product to see what it looks like. You can actually look up the keywords. But what we're looking for in this case to determine demand is the sales and also competition. So we can look at monthly sales column here. If we want to see it from a daily perspective, we can. And we can also see the revenue and dollar amount. And then the rating number over here, that is your reviews. So we could simply take this and, copy, instead of using the estimator tool here, we can simply copy everything and go back and paste it here. Or really a workaround that I like to do is come up to the menu here and download it into a CSV file. So we're just trying to find a faster way to get this information. Whatever sheet that you have, Excel, Google, you can just open it up here and upload the file. Now, when it's uploading here, or after it's done uploading, you'll see a lot of information that was just listed in the extension. But again, we're trying to find the top 10 product monthly sales. So if I grab the top 10 here, that looks to be the top 10, and I copy it, I can go back over to our calculator and paste it in there. That was super fast. And then I can come over here and do the same thing for the rating number. Make sure you got the top 10. Okay, come back over to our calculator tool and paste it in there. Oh, I missed one. Let's go back and do that and add it in here. Make sure I got 10. Okay. And add it in here. Awesome. So green is great. That's what you want to see. Yeah, you want to see less than 300, or I'm sorry, more than 300 monthly sales for this category. And we're just around 400 there. And then for our demand, you want to see less than 500, and we are just about under that at 400. So Lenny, what do you think? I think this is a pretty good category to potentially look at selling a product in.
Yeah, I think this is a really neat little, little spreadsheet that you've put together here. Just to kind of recap what we've done, we've been looking at the Amazon bestsellers page, and typically in the past, we would say steer clear of that because a lot of the products there are generally way too saturated and competitive to sell those directly. But the key here, as Jake pointed out, is that you really want to drill down into subcategories to hopefully find products that are less competitive. I think the paintball helmets that we found here could be a good example of that. Of course, there's still additional digging that you would like to do, and this strategy won't always work. You're not always going to find great opportunities this way. You might have to continue to do a bit of hunting, but it's a great resource to use. And in this webinar, we wanted to show you some free and paid ways to do this. But as you can see, it's a free way to go about it, to drill down into the Amazon bestsellers page. You can find those sales estimates using Jungle Scout's sales estimator, which again is free. And as Jake mentioned, it's mobile friendly as well. So that's really great if you're doing this sort of on the run. Now, Jake, what do you say we look at sort of an alternate way to, or maybe a more advanced way to look at this sort of data? What do you think?
Yeah, so there is one more way that we can look at this data and quickly either insert it into our calculator or just simply look at it as it's presented to us. So one way that we could do that again was download the CSV file here. But if you have Jungle Scout, what you can simply do is take these top 10 products and add it to your product tracker. So if you see this icon here, the plus, you do that for the top 10 products. You can continue scrolling down to get the number 10. And then when you go into your Jungle Scout, you can open up the product tracker here, which you find under product research and product tracker. You can expand this group overview tab. And this is really helpful. This is able to show you your average daily sales here. We see 12. And again, we mentioned finding products that the top 10 have average of 300 or more. And that equates to 10 daily sales for each product. And we're seeing about 12 here. So a little bit over that, which is perfect. You can see your average daily revenue here, your daily rank. You can see your FBA fees breakdown and how much you can expect to net from this product. And you can also see the review count, and that is below 500. That is 380. So if you wanted to view your data here, you certainly can. And that is another great way of seeing this information. Now, if you haven't used the product tracker before, you want a little more detail into why it's awesome. I love coming down here to these products and looking at this information on a table view. You can also open it up and see a graph of the historical data. And this is really insightful. You can see units sold, rank, inventory, and the buy box price. And you can do that in a 1, 3, and 6 month look back period. So you can really start to track products over time. Maybe you actually want to track your competitors' products or even your own products and see how the competition is going and where your products are headed in terms of looking at the rank and units sold. You can also actually leave notes, which is a super helpful way of keeping track of your competitors. You could even copy over the link from that demand and competition calculator and place it here for ease of use or ease of access. And there's some other helpful tools as well. So if you click on any product, you can turn on alerts for, anytime the price changes, anytime the bestseller ranking goes up or down, or when the title is changed. Maybe you want to keep a close eye on your competitors and see when they're changing their listing. That is a possibility here with the product tracker. Another helpful tool is to find the supplier. So, excuse me. If you're thinking about selling a product, you might have no idea where you're going to source it from. And a cool tool within Jungle Scout is able to find suppliers based on their ASIN. So if you click here and click Find Supplier, it will bring you over into our supplier tab and the supplier database. And so we're searching by ASIN. You can also search by product, company, or supplier. But to make it very easy, we search by ASIN. And you can actually see the name of their supplier listed here. And so if we were to click on that, there's a bunch of more information that we can see about that supplier, their top customers. Looks like they just have one company here, the type of products they manufacture. It's I don't know if this is a new manufacturer or if they just do one product, but you can see their shipment history here. They actually started in 2014, and you can see some of their information down here. So this is really helpful way of using the product tracker tool past just finding a product to sell on Amazon. So we're now back into Jungle Scout, the homepage here. And in the last example, we found that product through the Amazon bestsellers page. And what was great about that is we saw high trending products based on demand. And there's a tool in Jungle Scout that we can also look at that information, and it's called Category Trends. So if you hover over your product research and click Category Trends, what is interesting about this tool is it's very similar to this bestsellers page. However, this time we can now go back in time, and you can see here by choosing this date filter here, you can go really far back into the past as you want, and you can see information that was in the bestsellers page at that time. So if we choose the start of this year, for example, click apply, you will see products that were in the bestsellers page in that given time is also the 3 trailing days before. So we started on January 1st. We now see December 31st and December 30th. You can hover over the product to see what it looks like. You can actually open up this historical rank graph by clicking on it. You'll see the rank over time, which is pretty interesting. You can see the price point here, the ASIN, the rating, and the amount of reviews. And you can also just search for this directly on Amazon by clicking this icon. You can add it to your product tracker and look up the keywords directly from this category trends tool. So let's run through an example now. We sell on Amazon. If you're not familiar with the $1 Million Case Study, we sell these washable pee pads for dogs. And if you haven't seen that series, make sure you head over to our channel and watch it. We're now going to pretend like we're looking for a product to pair with that. So again, we sell washable pee pads for dogs. We might want to go into the pet supplies category here. So if we click pet supplies, we'll now see that we can continue to niche down. And similar to the last strategy on the bestsellers page, we want to niche down as far as possible. Let's now click dogs here, since we're selling a dog product. And any type of category you want to go in, you can go in, or you can start here if you'd like. I think, we already sell pee pads, so, you could do, wouldn't want to do food. You could do grooming tools. Toys might be a fun one to go into. Maybe let's just do toys as an example. And that's the last line of defense here. So again, with our date selected about 12 days in the past, we're now looking at products here that have been in the #1 bestseller ranking spot in these last 3 days. And, this product up here, these first couple of products have been really dominating over the past 3 days in that time period. So I'd be curious to check this product out on Amazon. So we see the ranking here. Wow, it's really dramatic in the last couple of days. Really, wow, it's really blowing up this dog treat puzzle toy. So the price range here is around $10 for one of their listings, and then $87. So there could be some more product in that variation. So let's go ahead and actually run a search for this on Amazon by clicking the icon and just seeing exactly what this product is. So it's a dog treat puzzle toy. Look at the photos. It looks like some type of game to make the dog work for its food. And that's really awesome. So that's what the product is. It's a dog treat puzzle. So let's take the main keyword now, copy it, and do the exact same method as we did before when we found the paintball helmets. So we're going to take the main keyword and type it into Amazon and just make sure we're getting the same result here. So if I scroll down, okay, these first 2 products, maybe not that product, but it's a sponsored item. Most of these products seem pretty spot on, with the exception of these 2. Look a little bit different, but for the most part, as we scroll down, yep, that's pretty spot on with what we're looking for. Great. So now that checks out as the main keyword, we can again open up the Jungle Scout extension. And again, we're going to try to narrow down and see if this is a good opportunity based on the demand and competition, looking at the level of monthly sales and the reviews with this rating number column here. So waiting for the data to populate here. We can actually, one interesting feature here with the extension is, since we identified a few products that aren't exactly what we're looking for, we can use this X and get rid of them. And so maybe we want to get rid of that one as well. You can do that for any product as well. And so now you see our list is sort of cleaned up. I think that's another product that we don't want, as well as that one. So everything else looks pretty spot on. So let's now look at this niche. Let's go ahead and look at the competition. So wow, this product at the top here has 63,000 reviews. He's doing really well. He's got 70,000 monthly sales, and the monthly revenue is close to $1 million. That's insane. And then if we go down this list here, 2,000 reviews, another big guy here at 40,000, but it actually looks like it drops off. So you see about 1,000 there, 400, 19, 20. So I think there's some room in here. There's definitely some competition at the top. You see 50, 32. But for the most part, this looks like a decent competition level. When it comes over to the demand, there's a ton of demand here. You see 70, like we said, 11,000 monthly sales, 8,000, 4,000, 3,000. Gosh, yeah, there's a ton of demand here. And, what I might want to look at next is this day first available column. So there's a ton of products here that were just launched last year. So if we take this product, for example, it was launched in October of 2021, a couple months ago, only has 19 reviews, but it's getting over 700 monthly sales, about 30 daily sales. That's really encouraging. What do you think about this, Lenny? I think there's a lot of opportunity within this category for new products like we're seeing here.
Yeah, it's interesting actually because this was one of the products that we looked at for the last season of the $1 Million Case Study. Of course, for those of you familiar, we were looking in the dog category, and we eventually settled on some dog pads. But dog puzzle toys and things was one of the things that popped up at the time because it was quite popular then. And one thing that was quite interesting with the dog pads was that there was crazy demand, very much like this product. And it did make me a little bit nervous because it did tend to be a little bit on the more competitive side. There was a few listings, a little bit like this one, that did have a really high number of reviews. Now, typically I would say don't go into a, if there's, like in this scenario, there's a few listings there that have thousands of reviews that would, as a general rule, that would turn me off because it's just probably going to be way too competitive. However, what I learned during the $1 Million Case Study was that there might be times where, even if there's a few listings that have thousands and thousands of reviews, if the demand is crazy enough and a lot of the other smaller listings are still getting lots and lots of sales, then there could still be an opportunity for you to sneak in there. So our pee pads for dogs have ended up being really successful, and despite the fact that there are competitors that have thousands of reviews. And the reason for that, I think, is because that particular niche has like insane levels of demand, that there is enough demand to go around. Now, I do want to clarify here that I wouldn't necessarily say everyone should go into a niche like this that does have some really high competition. Certainly if you're starting out, I wouldn't recommend it. I would say definitely just try to find a niche where there aren't any listings in the top 10 that are, past a few hundred, or certainly not into 1,000. But I would say that for some people that maybe have a little more experience and maybe have additional capital, that a niche like this could work. And as Jake pointed out, there's, you can see a number of successful listings that have only launched last year. Obviously, those listings with thousands of reviews have been around a really long time, but it hasn't stopped newcomers coming in the last year and still being successful. So I really like that idea of sort of cross-referencing all of the numbers with the date first available, Jake. That's really cool. So yeah, I think this is definitely an interesting one.
Yeah, and those are all great points. I know I was actually just peeping at the comments here, and someone was asking, how can we differentiate this product? This is, a type of category, like you mentioned, Lenny, is very competitive, especially at the top. And if there's anything you can do to make your product different, better, or bundle it even, that would be a great opportunity. So let me show you an example of doing that here really quickly. So if we're back in the extension and you find a product that you like, or a niche that you like, you can click on a product here, and to make the product better or to bundle it with certain other products, you can actually scroll down to this section here, the frequently bought with together section, and start to get some ideas. So you see this product here has frequently been bought with another toy, and also that one of those balls that we actually took out of our list. And if you just open that listing up, you can see what type of product that is. So it looks like another type of, sort of like a game where a dog's got to roll that ball around to try to get all the treats out, but it's stimulating for the dog. Here it mentally says it's stimulating and challenging your dog, promotes active and healthy feeding. So this could certainly be a product that is paired, with other toys. So if you're looking at a way to differentiate and also increase your price, this is a great strategy of using that frequently bought with section. Definitely. So Lenny, what do you think? Do we add these products to our product tracker? Is this a healthy enough category?
Yeah, I think it's worth adding to the tracker. And just keep in mind that as we're going through this process, or as you're going through the product research process, whenever you do find a product or a niche more so that you think is interesting, it's a good idea to add these top 10 listings into the product tracker. And so what you'll see us doing now is that as we try it out and show you these different strategies, we're going to add the top 10 listings for each one into the product tracker. And then what we can do is that we can come back after we've found all these different ideas and then start to compare them to each other. So that's kind of the thinking here. All right, Jake, back to you.
All right, so that wraps up the first strategy of finding products with high demand and low competition. So again, we utilized a few different tools there. We utilized the Amazon bestsellers page. We also utilized the demand and competition calculator, and then the free sales estimator tool, and then some Jungle Scout tools as well. We just went through the browser extension, the product tracker, and then lastly, the category trends tool, which has been super helpful in just getting that idea started. So we just needed to find an idea, and then we verify the demand and competition with some other tools as well. But you can do it for free with the sales estimator tool. So let's now jump into strategy number 2.
All right.
Awesome. So yeah, strategy number 2 here is very similar to strategy 1, but this time we're going to find niches with high demand and low competition. So if I go back over here, we're going to see a couple other tools that we're going to be using this time. So we're going to use the Product Opportunity Explorer, and that's from Amazon in Seller Central. This is a new tool that just came out. A lot of sellers are super excited about using it, and we are too. We're going to show you how we would use this tool. And then we're going to jump through some Jungle Scout tools as well. The Opportunity Finder, very similar to the Opportunity Explorer. And again, revisit the product tracker and the browser extension. So let's jump into the Product Opportunity Explorer. If you have an Amazon Seller Central account, this is a free strategy here, or free tool to utilize. You want to come up to your bar up here, your menu bar, and click Growth. And then at the bottom, you'll see Product Opportunity Explorer. Awesome. So once you have that pulled up, you'll want to then look at all the options that you have here. So the first way that you can narrow down your products is you can find opportunities in certain countries. So we can see the United States, Germany, UK, France, Italy, and Spain. We'll stick with the United States here. You can also search to find niches. And again, this is separate from finding products. This time we're going to find categories like office phone stand, for example, tabletop shelf, and some of these example niches you see down here. And also what you can do is super helpful is browse and filter. So we preach filtering a ton here at Jungle Scout, especially with our tools to help you narrow down which products you want to sell based on demand, competition, and a bunch of other things. So you can see that you can search in certain categories. You can search by the search volume over the past 90 days or even 360 days, basically a year. You have minimum and maximum entries that you can input as well. So to find the demand, you can actually use units sold here. And this next filter is pretty unique. So number of top click products. The best way of explaining this would actually be letting Amazon do that. So let me jump out of here and go to an example niche. So you'll see here on this page, and I'll explain more about this page in a moment, the number of top click products is 28, and this asterisk is pointing us over to this sentence here that basically says they're getting this number based on the number of products that are receiving 80% of clicks after customers enter any of the search terms within this niche. So it might sound confusing, but an easy way to explain it is if you go to the search term tabs here, these are all the search terms that Amazon is saying are a part of this niche. So the niche in this example is office phone stand. And so some of the search terms you see is office phone stand for desk. And of course, office phone stand and then even telephone stand are all a part of this niche. So what does that mean? That means 28 products are basically dominating those search terms, or at least getting 80% of the click share from those search terms. So you can see actually it's sorted by click share right here. This product at the top is getting the majority of clicks from those search terms. And you can see all the products here and some of these interesting stats as well. That, again, we'll go through in just a moment. So that's what the number of top click products means. You could look at this in one of two ways. A very low number, for example, 5, could mean that the niche is very top heavy, meaning there's only a couple competitors at the top that are really dominating the search terms. And so you might want to stay away from any category that only has a few top click products in it. Now, on the other hand, if it has a ton of top click products, let's just use 100 as our example here, that could mean that there's a ton of competition as well, since a lot of products are competing, but that could make it more likely that a new product comes in and also competes, since there's a higher chance of you coming in and also competing with them in terms of capturing click share for these search terms. So hopefully that makes sense, guys. Let's go back to the product opportunity explorer here, and let's run through an example now. So we could do this in a couple of different ways. I'm going to actually browse and filter here. And let's start off with a category. Let's just pick baby products. You'll see here that you can actually niche down further. We can go into any of these, but for this tool, I'm actually not going to do that since we're not finding a product anymore. We're finding niches. I'm actually going to keep it here to keep it open, keep our list open. So we can also do, search volume, units sold. I think what I'll do next now is actually go down to units sold to gauge the demand. So typically we recommend, like I said, 300 monthly sales as a minimum, but Amazon actually calculates it in a different way. They calculate it in a 90-day look back window, so 3 months. So where we would usually use 300 here for a monthly number, we actually want to times that by 3 and choose 900 minimum. Now, for the number of top click products, we could use this as a way to gauge demand. And this is sort of us estimating demand, and it's not necessarily proven all the way, but this is where we're going to start with demand. And I'm sure over time this will change, and there's going to be different strategies with this. So what we're going to put here is just do 20 as a minimum. We don't want to find a category that has less than 20 products capturing all of the click share for the given keywords in that niche. And then we'll enter a maximum as well, so we avoid overcompensate over. We don't have any categories that have over 80. We'll put that number here, and you can always play with this. Really just estimated that right there, 20. You could certainly do 10 and 100 or any number there to gauge demand, or at least start to gauge demand. And let's now do average price. This is something we haven't talked about today, but typically when we look for products, we want to sell anything over $20. When you get under $20, you do start to lose out on profit margins, especially when Amazon increases their fees like they've been known to do in the past, and they recently did here in January. And anything over really like $50, $60, or even $70 is the range that we like to stick with, because when you go over $70, it's less of a impulse buy, and you're really asking the customer to do a little bit of research or trust your brand. So if you're having a new product on Amazon, you maybe want to stay within this price range. Certainly, like I said, with all these filters, you can play around with them how you see fit. So these are just what we're going to use here, and click submit to lock it in. All right, again, we're looking at baby products here, and we can start to search through these niches and look for anything interesting. You see the customer need is an example image of what this product is. So car seat covers for babies, nap mat, toy basket, baby walker, etc. You'll see the top 3 search terms here in that niche. Then you see the search term volume over the past year and 90 days with the growth. Units sold, number of top click products, and average price. So, you can either look through this list here, scroll down, see if you anything looks interesting to you, or you can like sort by one of these columns here, maybe the top click products I might want to sort by, and look at it here. So really just looking for anything weird. I think, Lenny, that's what we're going to go with today. We're trying to find weird products to sell on Amazon. So let's see here. We see Winnie the Pooh blanket. Probably don't want to do anything with a brand attached to it.
Right. That's licensed. Yep.
Yeah, definitely licensed. Nursery organizers and storage. That could be a good category to sell in, but yeah, I think it's a little too broad. You see like baby storage organizer. Yeah, it's not really niche enough. Llama baby stuff. That's interesting. Itsy Ritzy is the top search term, so maybe that's a brand.
Yeah. If it was just llama stuff, I mean, that could be kind of niched. People that like llama things.
Llama stuff. Okay, dad diaper bag. That's interesting. Tactical diaper bag. That could be a cool category.
Yeah.
Tactical. Baby milestone blanket. That's pretty.
Blankets
unique,
are simple to make, and yeah, certainly it sounds like a nice niche down from just. Obviously, baby blankets are quite big. We've even sold baby hooded towels here at Jungle Scout. But yeah, the milestone blanket seems like a niche down from just a regular baby blanket, I guess.
I like that because it's like you said, it's not just a regular blanket, it's a milestone blanket. And I know what this product is, but I'd be curious to show other people if you're unaware and you see actually you can market it for baby girls or baby boys. Let's click it and open up one of the products here. So this is a whole other view here that we see, but just so we can see what the product looks like, it's one of these blankets here where you can basically, it comes with one of those rings that you put over the months and you take a cute little photo of your baby each month on its birthday and you use the blanket. So that's what the product is here. And so I guess if we were to hop back into the Opportunity Explorer page, we see some of this data here that we haven't seen before. So these are the top products. Again, there are 58 products in this category that are really dominating these search terms associated with this niche. So we can see the click count, click share, average selling price, and so on. Like I said, you can look at the products here and click on them to open them up on Amazon, or you can also look at the search terms here. You can see the search term volume over the past 90 days, the search volume growth quarter over quarter. Like, so how much are these keywords growing? Some of these ones at the top are doing a pretty good job, plus 18, plus 50%. Search term volume year over year. So same metric, just looking at it in a larger look back window. The click share, so the percentage of customer clicks within this niche. You can also see the search conversion rate. This might be very helpful for advertising campaigns. So maybe you're not even doing product research. Maybe you're just looking in to see what keywords have the highest conversion rate. This could be a cool tool to use. And then the number of, or you see the top 3 products listed here for each keyword. So if you wanted to click on it, it would bring you back to the products page and you can see that information there. So again, I like the idea, Lenny, of, this product being niche enough in itself, but also the idea of niching it down even more to a gender. So baby girl or baby boy, you could also do that.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting seeing all of that data here for sure.
Yeah. So this is looking like a good category, but we still have no idea what the demand and competition looks like truly. So let's go over to this Insights tab. It's the last tab here, and there's a little bit more information that we can glean from here. You'll find this really interesting because you get data sets from today. So basically all this data here was pulled today. And then 2 other look back windows 90 days ago. So all this data was pulled 90 days ago, and then basically a year, 360 days ago. So you have a few reference points that you can look at, which I think is super helpful. For example, the number of products here, 58. 90 days ago, that was 90. So it's looking like this category is getting a little harder, or I guess a little more top heavy. So that's one insight you can glean. You could always look at it the other way. There's just general hypothesis at this point. You can see top 5 products click share. So of the top 5 products getting the most clicks, are they really truly dominating, or what's that percentage looks like? Looks like right now 22% for that. You see the average bestseller rank, average number of reviews, which is helpful. 874. That's a little bit above what we recommend, like 500. But I would be interested to actually do a search for this on Amazon and take those 10 products and see what their reviews are. So if we scroll down this list, really what I found when demoing this tool the other day was the most helpful part for product research or columns here, or say rows, are these last 4 rows in this brands and selling partners section. So number of new products launched in the past 180 days and the past 360 days. And then right below that is a metric of number of successful launches. And this is sweet. So Amazon defines successful as a number of new launches in the past year with an annualized revenue amount of more than 50,000 in the past 30 days. So basically, for example, if we take the data from today, 16 products were launched, new products were launched in the past year, and 12 of them were successful, meaning 12 of them have reached 50,000 in sales last month. So that's really good. That's actually some really good odds, more than half. Only 4 of those new launches aren't at 50,000 sales this last month. And then you can certainly compare that to the 90 days ago and really see that data there. So that is super interesting. That is really encouraging if I'm looking at a niche like this and thinking maybe I should sell, but I'm not sure. But that's a little bit of a boost I need to start the research process. So Lenny, I say we actually take one of these search terms and run search for it on Amazon and do exactly what we're doing with the last strategies and really gauging the demand and competition levels.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
All right, so maybe take this baby boy gender here, go back to Amazon and search for it. All right. So let's go ahead now and look through this list, make sure it's what we're looking for. So certainly targeted towards baby boys here. You see that little bear there. Some products here we might want to get out, even though it is a sponsored product. So this looks what we're looking for. Football one there. That's cute. So let's go ahead and open up the extension. And again, if we see any products listed here, it doesn't look like it that we want to remove, we could. But okay, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for baby milestone blankets for baby boys in particular. And so let's first start with the average price. Looks pretty good at $22, right above our $20 minimum. Now let's look at the demand monthly sales. So this product at the top is getting a ton. See right around 300 there, above 300, 500, right around 300, 1,000, right around 300. So a lot of these are really, really close. And I would say that the demand is right on. It's probably the lower end of high demand, but right there. So I would put a check next to demand. And now let's go over to the number of ratings. So this guy at the top here is 3,000, definitely a lot. But actually, when you look down this list, 50, 83, 500, 1,000. Outside of these three right here, there's a ton of new products with less than 100 reviews. And again, Lenny, if we're looking at the date first available column, we see this product here, 50 reviews, just launched last year, getting almost 300 monthly sales. This product, 2021, a bunch of products that were just launched last year with hardly any reviews, getting a decent amount of sales. So this is looking like a really promising category to potentially look at selling a new product in.
Yeah, I think this one would also be probably worth adding into the product tracker as well. Just pausing and thinking about what we've been doing here. We're showing you a few different ways to generate some product ideas initially, but you'll notice that once we've found those ideas, our sort of verification process at the end of kind of looking it up on Amazon, viewing it with the extension, and then adding them to the product tracker, that sort of part of the process is typically the same. So just kind of keep that in mind. And then one other thing to keep in mind, as Jake was pointing out there was a lot of listings there. There was a couple listings there that had really high demand, but then all the others they had close to that 300 sales per month. Some were a little bit under in the sort of 200 mark. And one thing that I often talk about with product research is that you're not always going to tick every single box that we talk about. So we often talk about wanting to get at least 300 sales per month. You definitely want to strive for that, and you definitely want to look for low competition, etc. But you mightn't always tick every single box. But your aim is to tick as many boxes as possible. And that's why we're adding all of these different ideas, even if they don't 100% match our criteria. If they're 80, 90% of the way there, we'll add them into the product tracker. And then later on, we can see which of these products ticks most of the boxes. So that's kind of how we know we're looking at this process. All right. So
Great.
now we're going to head back into Jungle Scout. Is that right, Jake?
That's right. So we did go ahead and add those top 10 products in this category here into our product tracker so that we can look at it later and compare against the other products that we also have added today. And so we're going to now jump into a tool very similar to the Opportunity Explorer tool. And this is a Jungle Scout tool called Opportunity Finder. And so when you're in Jungle Scout, you'll hover over product research and go to Opportunity Finder. That will pull up this page here. So why Opportunity Finder is so great is because this is going to help us find niches, and we get so many different filters that we can adjust here, starting with the marketplace. You'll see all these different marketplaces listed. I think just a few more than what Amazon has at the moment. I'm sure they will expand it. And we'll stick with the United States in this example. Similar to the Amazon's tool, we can actually choose categories. This time we can choose multiple categories rather than picking one category, or we can go through and select the list of categories that you want to sell in. These are just a few that we found are good categories. You definitely don't want to sell like software, for example, unless you know how to sell software. Maybe you want to stay out of video games, electronics, anything that can break easily. We have a ton of helpful videos on this channel telling you more about what not to look for. So make sure you check those out. But just a very high level, you can choose some of your some categories like this. And then when it comes over to these filters to the right, this is when we start to input our filters and thresholds for demand and competition, as well as some other factors. So like we mentioned earlier, we like to look for products that have an average monthly unit sold of around 300 minimum. So we'll include that here. When it comes to price, again, $20 minimum, $70 max. And now we can actually do search term very similar to how we could with Amazon. And I didn't utilize it in the last example, so I'm going to utilize it here. So you could look for products that have a very high search term volume. Let's just stick with 2,000. We can always increase it if we want our list to be narrowed down a little bit. So let's start with 2,000 so that we're finding products that are being searched consistently every month. You can also do the search volume trend over the past 30 and 90 days here, but we'll leave that blank. And then niche score. So this is an in-house Jungle Scout algorithm. Basically what the niche score is going to do, it's going to calculate products within the niche based on the level of demand, competition, and the quality of the listings within the niche. And it's going to give it a score based on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is the highest opportunity and 1 is the lowest. So if you think about it, if a niche is rated 10, for example, that means it has very high demand, low competition, and the quality of the listings are pretty poor. So you might see titles not fully filled out with a bunch of the high volume keywords. You might see only a few product images. You may not see a video there or no product description and so on. So the listing quality could be poor. So let's try to find good opportunities here. Let's input 7 as our minimum threshold. We can always increase or decrease this as we go on. Then we come down to these sliders here. So these sliders are going to give us a way to sort or filter by competition, for example. So we know we want to find products with low competition. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go very low to low on the competition slider. And then also seasonality, which is an interesting slider we can do as well. So we don't want to sell any products that are only popular in the winter time, for example, or certain peak seasons. So we want to maybe put this down to very low to medium. And then also what you can do here, which is super interesting, you can include keywords or exclude keywords. If you have a hobby and you really want to sell something in that hobby, maybe you want to start there. Maybe you want to look for basketball related products or any other type of product that you want to include keywords on. You can do that here. You can also exclude keywords like anything related to COVID or even like masks, and you can basically narrow down your list with these 2 additional filters here and exclude top brands like Apple or Nike showing up because certainly you don't want to compete with them. So with everything we have listed here, let's go ahead and click search. All right, so now we have this list here, and you see at the very, very top, we have 107 potential niches that we can look through. And that is a very, very small list compared to the amount of niches on Amazon. And we can certainly keep at this list if we would like. There's a bunch of helpful metrics down here, again, like the monthly units sold and competition, seasonality, and so on. But to make this list a little more digestible, one of the ways that we can narrow down, again, we could include, exclude keywords, mess with all of this here. So I'm actually going to change this one, the search volume to, let's double it to 4,000, just to see if we can narrow down this list. Again, we have 107 potential niches. So if I go ahead and click search, we are now down to 49. So that is a lot more digestible and gives us a more realistic opportunity of going through each and every one of these. So if we want, we can filter by some of these. Maybe you want to see the products with the highest monthly units sold or even the monthly search volume. So I'm going to actually do that. I'm going to sort by monthly search volume and go from here. So Lenny, let's go ahead and look for a potential niche as an example here. So yeah, you can, there's a couple different things you can do here. You can see the category, you can see the product here. You definitely want to do anything borderline illegal with these 2 products. You can also search for it on Amazon. So alarm clocks for bedroom, if you click that icon, it'll take you to Amazon. And so let's just find something here. You don't want to do, Ziploc. I probably don't want to do Ziploc. It seems very competitive, even though it's listed here. This is a TV show. Probably wouldn't want to do a TV show. A knife could be dangerous.
Yeah.
Mermaid, so maybe there's some mermaid products, specifically in home and kitchen category. Dog puzzle, we actually just saw that. That was one of the products we added. Yeah, so that's interesting. Cocktail smoker kit, that's interesting. So maybe this is one that we could add or start looking into deeper. So cocktail smoker kit, let's see what it looks like on Amazon.
All right.
Okay, so these are basically, I have no experience in this, but basically a way to make cocktails, and you basically would smoke them, and I imagine they'd be very delicious. Sweet. So that's the type of products you're going to get if you're buying one of those. So awesome. Let's open this up a bit. So with the Opportunity Finder, what you can do is you can open up any given niche and you'll get a bunch of helpful data here. What's amazing is you can see up to 2 years back of data. So we're on the units sold here. You can see when we can first get this data in February 2020, it had 200 units sold and it's expanded. So you can really start to see how a product is trending over time. You can see the average price to see how pricing is trending over time in the past 2 years. So right now it looks like there's a bit of a dip. So if you're launching a new product now, you may want to lower your price to compete. Search term volume, again, trying to see the seasonality, and wow, that really is peaking. So
yeah, that's crazy.
This used to not be that heavy of a niche until about November, December of last year, and really peaking in December. So a lot of people are excited to make smoke their cocktails. So that's exciting. So then seasonality is basically another way of gauging the seasonality over time. Great. So Lenny, I'm still happy with this so far. Nothing was too alarming outside of course, the search term volume here was pretty high here, but let's look at some of the products. You can click top products over here. And so what that's going to do is that's going to populate the top products similar to if we were to do a search on Amazon. And this saves us a bunch of time. Again, we could either click that search on Amazon or just really look at it here. Now we can see each product's monthly sales, revenue, price, reviews, date for it's available, and so on, just like we would in the extension. You can also sort by these as well. So maybe you want to sort by, monthly sales, for example, and look at it there. But let's just go ahead and look at some of this information. You see 1,000 monthly sales and under 500 reviews. Some of these products don't have reviews. They might be out of stock. And then you see, for example, 1,300 monthly sales. That's a lot with only 43 reviews. And that product was launched last year, late last year too. Wow. So a few products here. Wow. A lot of these products were launched last year, Lenny. That's really interesting. So there might be a trend going on that people are picking up.
Niche.
Yeah. A lot of people with Jungle Scout are finding this is the niche to get into maybe. So wow, yeah, you see a bunch of demand up here and very little competition. This is a really cool niche. So what you could do now is, like we've been doing with the last couple of products that we've found to have very good competition demand levels, you could actually add it to your product tracker straight from the Opportunity Finder. So you click the top 10 products, you go through that entire list, you click the 10, and you come up here and you click this plus icon and click add to product tracker. You want to create a new group there and give it a name. So Lenny, what do you think? What are your thoughts on this niche right now?
Yeah, it looks super interesting. It's intriguing to see that it's kind of shot up so quickly in such a short amount of time. I'd never, really heard of it. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool, and again, worth sending to the tracker.
All right, well, let's send that to the tracker, which we already did to streamline this process here. And that wraps up the Opportunity Finder tool, everyone. So just wanted to show you guys another way of using a tool to really niche down products and opportunities based on the level of demand and competition. And again, we did that with the Opportunity Finder, selecting our categories, selecting our filters, and just playing around with a little bit with our list of 49 products here. So we could have done that with a ton of other products here, but I'm glad we found one right away that was a pretty good opportunity.
Yeah, so I hope everyone can see how powerful the Opportunity Finder is. Just a quick recap on the latest two tools that we've shown you. We showed you the Product Explorer on Seller Central, which is free if you've got a Seller Central account, or you can alternatively use Jungle Scout's Opportunity Finder, which does have some additional filters and some other interesting data that you can look at as well. Now, real quick, just before we go into the third and final strategy, I will bring up a couple of questions here from the chat box. So one from Brett here. Have you heard anything from Amazon as to when the Opportunity Explorer will be available to everyone? I don't currently have it. So that was a good question, Brett. I forgot to mention this, but I do believe that it is meant to be rolling out to everyone. So perhaps if you don't already have it, to perhaps reach out to Amazon to see if you can get access. Is that what you would say, Jake?
Yeah, there is a way that you can just reach out to Amazon. You could probably open a support case, or if you Google it, I thought I saw an email specifically for this tool to reach out for a streamlined process here. So definitely reach out. They want to roll it out to as many sellers as they can to get your feedback on it. But yeah, if you don't have it now, definitely reach out and they should hopefully grant you access to it.
Cool. Going back through the chat here, a little shout out to Jungle Scout. Thank you, Athena. I just signed up literally on the new year for the whole year. And frankly, JS is the most user-friendly and straightforward app. Thanks so much for that feedback, Athena. Welcome to the Jungle Scout community. Glad that you're finding it easy to use. And again, everyone, just a reminder, if you're looking to join Jungle Scout as well to kickstart your product research and Amazon business, then the link is in the description below. We're running our New Year's offer for only 2 more days. So make sure to jump on top of that one. And yeah, real quick, I'll jump into, I think we've got like one more question here, or a couple of questions from Pedro here, which I'll address. Asking, when you reference the top 10, is it sales, ratings, or reviews? It's not clear. Good question. So when we're talking about the top 10, we're just talking about the order of the search results as they appear when you type in. So the aim is you type in sort of the main keyword, and then you just take the top 10 results as they are ranked. It's not organizing it by sales or ratings or anything else, but just the original keyword rankings. That's what we're referring to there.
And you may just want to take note of the sponsored listings there as well. So you'll see usually like 1 to 4 products at the very top that are sponsored. And so I would remove those from your list when you're trying to calculate demand and competition. So just make sure to keep an eye on the sponsored products.
Yeah. And actually, sorry, there is one more question that I noticed here, which I think is a good one for what we just covered. Sarah asks, do you rely on the opportunity score? And maybe as a follow-up to that one, Pedro says the extension says high competition, but we were saying not too much competition. What is the difference here? So both those questions are kind of tied together. So you'll notice in the top right corner of the extension that it's got the opportunity score, and that is a number out of 10 as to how good of an opportunity that particular niche is, with 1 being a poor opportunity and 10 being a great one. So typically you want to see a number higher than 5 or 6. So you want to see a higher number. That means it's a better opportunity. But one thing that we always note is that the opportunity score is just a starting place. So I think in the example we were looking at earlier, it did actually have a lower opportunity score number, and yet we were talking about it as a maybe, as a possibility to potentially sell in. So the reason for that is that, again, the opportunity score is just a starting point, and I believe it was actually reflecting the right thing. It was saying that there was high competition, because we did note there were like a couple of listings there that did have thousands of reviews. So it definitely did have high competition, and that is why the opportunity score was, quite low. And again, for beginners, I would probably steer clear of that, because there were some listings there with very high competition. But I suppose what we're trying to share is that in real life, you do want to look at all of the factors. And so what I was seeing with that particular niche was that, yes, there were some listings with really high competition, but also there was really insane levels of demand. And if you have the right strategy and a little bit more advanced knowledge, there are ways to still compete with that. So yes, it did have high competition, but this is an advanced product research webinar. We were seeing that I do believe there would be ways to compete with that. To be honest, you would need a lot of money. Typically in these niches that have higher competition levels, you typically need a lot of money to kind of compete there. But if you do have that, then it could be quite profitable. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question regarding, what is the opportunity score and, what do you do when the score is low? So hopefully that cleared that one up.
Yeah, great questions.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you all for the questions. Now let's dive into strategy number 3. I'm going to bring that one up right now. Okay, strategy 3, and that one is products with high net profit. And so this is definitely one of my favorites. And so what we're talking about here is ROI, or return on investment. And that essentially means, or our goal here is to get at least 100% ROI. And that means that for every dollar that you spend, you want to get at least $1 back, okay? And so let's go through an example here to kind of explain that. So we've got our FBA profit calculator over here. And so we can see our product cost in this example is $10. That's how much I'm paying to get the product and get it shipped in, okay? So $10 out of my pocket. And so to get 100% ROI, I want to get back all of my costs. I want to get back my $10 that I paid, but I also want to get an additional $10 profit on top of that. But there are a few other costs to consider. So let's work out all of our main costs. There are 2 main costs. The first is the $10 product cost, which I've got here. The second main cost is what we pay to Amazon as our total FBA fee, which in this example is around about $10, we'll call it. Now, if you want to know what the FBA fee is made up of, there are 2 parts to that. The first part is the FBA fulfillment fee, which is about $6, and that is the cost for Amazon to pick, pack, and ship your product. The other part is the referral fee, which is about $4, and that is a percentage of your sales price, typically about 15%. So whatever your sales price is, the referral fee will change, but the FBA fulfillment fee will typically stay the same. So those 2 costs make up your FBA fee. So we've got an FBA fee of about $10. We've got a product cost of about $10. And so our goal in order to get 100% ROI is to then make $10 profit on top of that. So that leads me into a helpful rule that we like to talk about here, and that is the rule of thirds. And this is a really simple way to kind of figure out what price you would need to sell a product at when you're doing product research. So essentially the rule of thirds is you want to spend about a third of your sales price on the product itself. You want a third will typically go to Amazon fees, and then you typically want another third to come to you in profit. So keeping that rough rule of thumb in mind as you're going through and doing this product research process. If you're starting to see that, if I go back to perhaps this previous example, if I'm seeing that if I look up a given product and I'm seeing that it costs $10 in FBA fees, then maybe I look on Alibaba and it's $10 on average for the product, but maybe a lot of people are selling this product at only $25, let's say. Then you know that it's not meeting the rule of thirds because the leftover profit is only going to be $5 rather than 10. And if you're seeing something like that, then you might decide that, okay, maybe there's not enough profit margin in this product. So definitely always be applying the rule of thirds. All right, so with that being said, now we might jump into some tools. Would you like to perhaps share the first one, Jake?
Yeah, absolutely. So in this third and final strategy of finding products with high net profit, there's a few tools we're going to look through. The first one is going to be Alibaba.com. And that is how we're going to find products and find suppliers. So that way we can get a good rough estimate on the estimated product cost that we'll use to determine which products have high net profit margins. And then the tool that we're going to use to find products this time is going to be the Jungle Scout product database. And we'll also be able to reference the tracker and extension as well, like we have in the last two strategies. So let's get started. Excuse me. So we're in the product database now, and you would hover over product research in Jungle Scout and click product database to find it. And very similar again to the opportunity finder, we can choose our marketplace here and our category. So let's go ahead and select the same categories we selected last time. And then this time we have a couple different filters over here. And again, we're doing products this time as opposed to niches in the previous example. So we're gonna have some different filters over here that we'll walk through. The product tier is basically standard or oversized. So you want to do standard. You can certainly sell oversized, but an oversized product is heavier and bulkier, and there's more fees with that. So in an effort to find high profit products here, we want to select standard to find smaller products with smaller FBA fees. Seller type. So this is whether it's Amazon selling it or if it's fulfilled by Amazon or if it's fulfilled by merchant. So I'm going to select Amazon and FBA because I want to find products that are going to be able to give us the data we're looking for. So if I do FBM, for example, we may not know the full cost there because it's not publicly displayed on Amazon, such as like their FBA fees. So we want to select FBA and Amazon there. And we also have the filters here for prices. So we're going to do our $20 minimum to $70 price range. And for reviews now, to gauge the level of competition, we're going to use the maximum review column here and enter 100. So the reason we're doing 100 now is because, again, we're looking at products as opposed to the first top 10 products, and we're trying to take the average there, which in the past we're doing 500. So any product under 100 might be good to look at. And it's especially going to be helpful when we factor in sales. So the minimum that we've been talking about all day today is 300. So we want to do 300 minimum there. And there's also some other filters that we're going to utilize to find high net profits products. So the minimum net column here. So we can type in 15, and that will give us only products that has a minimum of $15 net profit there. You can certainly experiment with this number, do 30 even if you want, or 10 to go lower, but sweet spot here I found is 15, but certainly experiment with any product or margin that you would like. Okay, and now we have other columns here like rating. We could choose minimum rank, weight, sellers, revenue, but I think we're going to stick with this. And one other thing I want to do is exclude top brands, similar to what we did in the previous example, so that we're not finding products like Nike or any other type of products listed. So let's go ahead and click search and wait for the data to populate. And a couple other things you could do here as well is you actually do this date first available. That would be really helpful in finding products that were just launched this year or last year, actually. So now we have a list here of about 2,000 to 3,000 products listed here with the monthly sales, price, rank, reviews, and some other helpful columns listed here. So this is a really good starting point. We can start to look at the products. If they have multiple variations, you'll see a number listed like 4, for example, and you could open it up and view those products and their variations. And so let's just basically go through this list now. I might want to actually sort by a column. So again, we're looking for high net profit margins, and the net right here is included in the price column. So if I sort our column by price, so I get the highest price items at the very top. That's going to give us a better chance at seeing higher net products. So that's what we're looking for here. And we're starting at the very top with a ski insulated jacket, it looks like. Okay, I don't think we want to do clothing, but then we see a rope here, some other jackets, a triathlon suit, beach towel. That seems pretty competitive. We're really just looking at the pictures and seeing if we can find anything weird, a helmet. And there's a lot of clothes in here. So I can also, if I wanted to, go to the exclude keywords here and type in, like clothes or like, for example, like jacket. I could do that here and really narrow down a list. But this product actually here is interesting. It's a rope, and it's an anchor rope. So I think it's for a boat. Let's actually look at that on Amazon, Lenny here. And it's currently unavailable. Must have just went out of stock, I imagine. And look through some of the pictures. So it's a double braided nylon, specifically 1/2-inch anchor rope. And yeah, so it's definitely for a boat. Yeah. So you see the category here, sports and outdoors, all the way to docking and anchoring. This might be an interesting one. So dock lines and rope is the lowest subcategory there. This could be very interesting. So let's actually go back and actually let's stay here and let's look up this on Amazon. So if we type in, I think, what do you think, Lenny? Like anchor rope? I think anchor rope is probably the, keep it pretty vague, but
yeah,
niche.
I'd say like anchor rope or boat anchor rope. I think probably either one of those would make them the most sense. Yeah.
Let's try this, and we can always niche down. So if we just type in anchor rope on Amazon, okay, this is what we're looking for, right? This is, we have one in white. These are sponsored. Keep that in mind. A black one. This looks what we're looking for. That one might not be exactly what we're looking for, but we can always take that out. It looks a little different, but pretty similar. So these are actually pretty spot on. So let's now open up the extension. And again, we found this niche anchor rope just through the product database tool and using the filters that we use to isolate products to just a certain few. So let's open this up a little bit now and look through some of these products. Demand. So the monthly sales here, 330, 720, 240. So some of these, it's really close actually. This is, I'm starting to see some products that are pretty low, like this one under 200, this one under 300. But for the majority, I'm seeing 400, 300. We actually get rid of that one because that was the product that we knew was a little different, 100. So it's a little hit or miss, Lenny, on the demand here. There's certainly some products that are meeting that demand. And I guess if we were to go over to the competition here, it's pretty high, those first two ones, but these are pretty 150, 600, 200, got 2,000 there. That looks a little bit different. Might not be, that's a $6 price. So we actually might want to get that one out of there. That looks probably a little different of a product. Since the average price up here we see is $34. So what do you think, Lenny? I mean, it's definitely low demand, I would say, and then low competition, but the demand is sort of maybe medium demand, which is certainly okay. But curious to hear your thoughts on this niche here.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because there are a few different sort of hit and miss parts of it. Let's see. Yeah, it's interesting to kind of see. What I would say here is, there is a reasonable number of listings that have a good number of sales and demand. But also there's a reasonable number of listings that have a little bit too high competition. But I think adding them to the tracker here would be a good exercise.
Okay, I think that's a great idea. So one thing that we could do, I've actually already added these to our tracker here, but yeah, you would take that first 10 here. And I think the next step, Lenny, if we're okay with this, the demand being a little bit low, I think what we now want to do is look at the net. And really this is the strategy here. We first wanted to look at the demand and competition levels, of course, to make sure we're finding a high demand, low competition product. But then now we want to make sure the net is where we want it to be. So if you click any of these net links here. So let's click this one here, for example. It will populate the FBA profit calculator that Lenny walked you through an example of earlier. And so this is really sweet. As long as the product is FBA or it has the dimensions and product weight in there, we'll be able to calculate pretty accurately the fees involved there. So with this product price at $32, there is a total FBA fee of $11.23. And that's calculating the FBA fulfillment fee for storage, shipping, and so on. And then the referral fee, Amazon's commission. So all together, that's about $11 there. And now the one piece of information we're missing is the product cost. So we don't really know what this product costs to make. And that's going to be huge in us determining whether there's a lot of margin for this type of product. So Lenny, I think the next step here is to go to Alibaba.com and look for suppliers and try to find this exact product on Amazon or a similar enough product and search for it and see what the product cost is.
Yeah, and the good thing is that you can do a little bit of reverse engineering here, and you can at least tell what the maximum price would need to be in order to fit into sort of the rule of thirds. So we can kind of see like, okay, the average price there is, well, this one's $32.99, or the average price is about $34. The FBA fee is about $11. So we know that the product cost can't be more than around about that $10, $11 mark. We know if it's, kind of higher than that, then it's going to be chewing into our profit margin, which is exactly what we're looking for in this particular strategy. So yeah, I think we go to Alibaba, and now we've got a little bit of an idea of what our sort of maximum price needs to be.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So let's now head over to Google or your browser of choice and go to Alibaba.com. And let's go back over to the extension real quick. Where do I got it? Right here. And we want to find this exact product, or at least as close as we can. So I think what we can do here is nylon anchor rope is anchor line. I guess in this case, we can do this all the way down here. So nylon anchor line double braided. Go ahead and copy that into Alibaba. And then there's actually a specific like dimension here. So I think if we were typing, 3 8-inch and then 100 feet. So yeah, so the dimension there is 3 8 inches, 100 feet. So hopefully that's a very descriptive way of finding this product. And that looks very similar actually. So let's just make sure. So nylon anchor rope, 100 feet. Yep, that checks out. 3 8-inch, that checks out. Nylon anchor rope for boats. Wow, okay. That was very simple. So if we click this product here in Alibaba, these are just, typically estimates. You're probably going to be able to get a better price when you contact the supplier and really ask them what their prices are, depending on how many units you want to order. So for example, this one, if you were to order 50 to 200, you can get it at a $6 per unit price. But the more you spend, you get that price down. So you see if you spend more than 500, you can get it as low as $4.88 per unit. So let's just go ahead. I want to be very considerate of the true cost of this product when selling on Amazon. Let's take this middle price here. Okay. So $5.60 for this product if you were to buy a medium amount of inventory. We're going to be very, very conservative here in our approach. So $5.60. We come back to the product cost here and enter $5.60. You can calculate your profit, and we're way over 100. But one thing to consider is the other fees involved here. So you probably don't want to stop here. You're probably going to get hit with, taxes. There's going to be customs duties, even shipping costs. There's going to be a lot of other costs you need to consider. Storage, any cost even that you want to add into your product cost. You're probably not going to be stuck here at 560. So if you want to be, a little more conservative, you could add $1, $2, $3, $4. You can pick a number, maybe $2. Lenny, what do you think about adding maybe like $2 or to this product cost?
Yeah, I'd, just for rounding sake, you could just add like $2.40 maybe, and kind of take it up to
$8.
Yeah. Again, like you said, just being super conservative here, but I feel optimistic that at $5.60, there's a good, good amount of wiggle room there.
Yeah. So, and again, you can always negotiate this price. So that's just a starting point. But I agree with you, Lenny. Maybe increase it almost $3. So we input $8 there. We calculate it. So we're still over our 100 ROI percentage, which is great. So 172% ROI, you would profit $13.76 for each sale. You can certainly be a little more conservative if you would like, and even try to go up to $9, see what that would get you, or even, $10. It still seems like we're under that 100. And then, if you were to go back down to that $8, Lane, like you mentioned, you can really play with the price here. So maybe this would be our target price, but then maybe you want to run a sale, or when you first launch your product, you want to price it $28, and you would do a lot of that research earlier on. But you can start to play with the price ranges here and see how low can you go and still achieve that 100% ROI.
Yeah, and that's a great point. It's worthwhile doing a few different calculations here. So like Jake is doing, seeing how low can you go with the product price but still maintain your ROI. At the same time, I'd also look at how high can the product cost go and still maintain your ROI as well, so that you again know, like in our example, it would be, I don't know, probably $11 or $12 or $11 something or whatever, maybe up to like $12-ish dollars might be, okay, it's a little bit less, so it's less than $12, it's like 11.
Right around 11.
Yeah, so we now know that would sort of be kind of the ceiling if we were to pursue this product. And by the time we add up shipping and customs and all of that, we would want to make sure that total price, the landed cost, which includes the product and the shipping, all comes in under $11 in order to like maintain our profits.
Yeah, so I think this was a pretty successful experiment here, looking at the anchor ropes here and really running through this specific product. And this isn't the final, like, we wouldn't stop here. We definitely will look at so many other different variations. Like, that was just 3 8-inch. We could probably even go to that listing, and there'd probably be some other products that we can look at. So yeah, 150 foot as well. Since we looked up 100 feet, we could do 150 feet. There's probably some other competitors here doing some other types of sizing or different colors even. You could, make this better or attach it to any of their products. So I see this guy here is doing some other products as well. So you could bundle it and do a lot more than what we just did there. But that's a great starting point, is using that net column here and going through the FBA profit calculator tool to determine, your lowest price, like you said, Lenny, and then your highest product cost using using Alibaba here.
Yeah, and I think a good point here that sort of applies to all product research is that it's kind of just a giant rabbit hole where you find one product and then you just continue to, or like that's kind of a starting point to look at related ideas. So far today we've just been, for the sake of this webinar, kind of finding an example idea and then sort of adding that directly to the product tracker. But most likely what would happen is, as you find that first idea, you might add that to the product tracker, but then that might spark other ideas of like, what other products are in this, sort of niche or related and so forth. So like you were saying, Jake, if we were pursuing this further, we would start probably looking at other, what size and length of rope is the most important? Or it's like such an interesting niche that I wouldn't typically think of. I'm like, I wonder what other products are kind of in this market that might also be a little bit weird but have high demand and low competition. And you then start to, like a spider web, start moving to these other product ideas and start to find a whole bunch there. And one other note that I would make on Alibaba as well, when it comes to looking at those prices that you see on those pages aren't always accurate. Particularly if you just see a single price, they tend to, or they can be very, they can be wildly inaccurate. Typically, if there's a single price there, it might be a really low price. And I think the aim is that they just want you to contact them. They attract you with a low price, and then they'll give you the real quote when you contact them. But what I have found is that typically when there are tiers of pricing, like we saw on the example we just looked at, I've tended to find that those are more accurate when they've got those tiers. They tend to be a little more accurate. Of course, if we were to pursue this product further, you would need to reach out to the supplier and even a number of suppliers to get real quotes, because it is possible that those quotes may not be accurate, but this is just, something you can do in the product research phase where we're just, doing that first step of kind of validating some initial ideas. We're not deciding to sell a product yet. There's definitely a lot more, hard quotes and things that you would need. But hopefully this, kind of gives you an idea of those initial steps.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great point too. And you'd want to do a lot more than just the product research. You'd want to look at the samples you get from suppliers and go from there. But just as a starting point, get that ideation process going. This is a great way to using the product tracker or the product database to find some interesting products. All right, Lenny, what do you think about? What do you think about comparing all the ideas we compiled today?
Yeah, I was just gonna say the same thing. So, we've gone through a product research session here, obviously very quickly, but we've generated a number of different ideas. We've taken each of those ideas, added the top listings into the product tracker. So now let's go and kind of compare them all to each other. I think that'll be super interesting.
Yeah, let's do this. This is similar to what we did in the last advanced product research webinar. If you guys haven't seen it, go back and watch it. It's if you go to our Jungle Scout channel and click the videos tab, you'll see it there. But we'll now go through, like Lenny said, the products in the product tracker and try to find a winner, or at least one that we might choose in this case. So we're here in the product tracker now, and we have our paintball helmet set up, our dog tree puzzles set up, our cocktail smoker kit, the milestone blankets for baby boys in particular, and lastly, the anchor ropes. And, we can either go through all the columns here and look at them individually, or you can go to this main overview section here, which I generally find to be very, very helpful as a way to compare at a high level each of your groups. So at the top here, paintball helmets, dog treat puzzle, cocktail smoker, milestone blanket, and anchor rope. Lenny, let's pick a winner. Let's maybe try to weed out maybe the ones that we wouldn't sell first, and then get down to a winner.
Yeah, I guess if we're starting from left to right, I'm looking at average price. The first thing that stands out is kind of a lower price point on the dog treat puzzle. So, I remember we mentioned that there could be a possibility of maybe bundling a product to kind of get that price up. But if we're putting that aside, so far I'm sort of taking a point away from the dog treats just because they the puzzles, as they're a little bit on the lower side price-wise. That's one observation so far.
And I will say, as like a pro and con to that, you do have a lower price range here. As Lenny said, you could bundle it with another product to hopefully get closer to $20. But playing devil's advocate here, it does have the highest daily sales out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we're looking at. So it ends here at anchor rope, 83 being the highest by a pretty good margin outside of the one right below it. So something to take into consideration there. The average net is certainly lower. So you could argue, while it does have the highest daily sales there, you wouldn't need to sell as many. You need to sell a ton of those products to compete with some of these with a higher average net. So another thing to consider there, but I'm totally with you. I think we kind of dock that there, but then also add a point for the daily sales column, the demand.
Yeah. Also noting that one does also have really high competition as well. So that's kind of worth noting. But yeah, overall what we're looking at, and I noticed there's like a couple of comments, like that last product for the rope had an opportunity score of 2. Again, like I'd mentioned earlier, there are some products here that, definitely had like lower opportunity scores, and that was typically for higher competition. So I'm definitely acknowledging we've got a few products here that do have some higher competition. As I mentioned earlier, there are some instances where I think you can compete with higher competition products. but I don't recommend that for most people. Again, we've collected a few ideas here today that are interesting for the sake of showing you the process. So certainly these aren't, you know, by and far the greatest ideas ever in just the you know, hour and a half that we've been together. So yeah, keep that in mind. So let's keep going and see if we can kind of pick an overall sort of winner here.
Yeah, and some other columns to really take into consideration well is this average rating. So how you could utilize that column is if you were to take it, let's take an example here. So there's the dog treat puzzle has the lowest average rating out of all the 5 that we're looking at today at 4.28, just under 4.5 stars. And so you could utilize that knowledge by thinking, okay, if I were to come in with a product with at least 4.5 star rating, my product could look better, quote unquote, better than some of the average competition here. So just keep that in mind as well to see how tough it would be to come into to a category and compete on the listing on a listing. So that's something to consider as well. But yeah, Lenny, what do you think? I think I really like this cocktail smoker kit. It's the average price is the highest by a slight margin compared to the paintball helmets. But with that, you get a much larger net. And the daily sales is our second highest daily sales, second to the dog treat puzzle. So
yeah,
the reviews are pretty low as well. So, you know, that
yeah.
actually hits some of our targets. It hits our plus more than 10 daily sales, which equates to more than 300 a month for the top 10, and under our 500 average reviews at 400 here. So far, I'm really liking this category.
Yeah, I think like looking across the line there, it looks like it's pretty much the winner or one of the top winners for each category. Again, like you said, great price point, huge net amount, looks like the highest net amount. It's almost the highest daily sales, and one of the lowest in terms of competition or average competition. So yeah, I'd agree that one, just based off of these numbers, and again, that's not an absolute thing, but just based off of a preliminary check here, that one I would say is probably the winner, or certainly my pick.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards it as well. Then there's other ones that you can consider, like the Milestone Baby Blanket has, 18 daily sales, a little bit above our number there, but the competition's a little bit high. But then this paintball helmet one was pretty unique, I thought, because it was very niche. But I think when it comes down to it, I would rather sell the product with, 51 daily sales as opposed to 12. And yeah, I agree with you, Lenny. I think in my mind, at least so far in this very early process, I would pick the cocktail smoker kit as the clear winner.
Okay, let's do that. Let's call that our winner for today. Certainly, there are then more steps that you would need to take. So, for example, one thing to keep in mind is that the higher the price of the product, typically that means that the higher it's going to cost to get that product. So potentially with a couple of these products that are higher priced, $50, $60 or $40 to $60, you might need more capital up front. It might cost, I don't know, it might cost $20 plus dollars in order to get that product. So you would obviously need to go to Alibaba or find a supplier and see what sort of price you could get that at, and see if that's something that you can afford. But hopefully the strategies that we've shared today, just in terms of ideating and finding those initial ideas, have been helpful. And of course, if you want to use Jungle Scout yourself to find some product ideas, then again, just letting you know about the deal that we are running for New Year's, which we have linked down in the description below. Here is the page, but again, you can click on the link below to save over $250 on Jungle Scout. Alrighty, I know we've been going for a while here, everyone. We're gonna dive into some questions for a few minutes before we wrap it up. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we do that, Jake?
No, but excited to hear what questions you guys have. Definitely ask anything product research related or just anything pressing as well. We'll be glad to answer them.
Awesome. All right, let's see. I'm gonna go back down the comments here. Let's see if I can bring this one up. Okay, Adam asks, how do you calculate the FBA fees, referral fees, etc. in the FBA profit calculator? Is there a tool used to help you get accurate numbers? So there's kind of two ways, I guess, to go about it, and feel free to chime in, Jake, with your thoughts at any point too. But Jungle Scout has a built-in profit calculator, which we saw earlier, where essentially it does a lot of the work of pulling in the FBA fees and the Amazon fees for that product based off of the sales price. So everything is basically, or on the Amazon side, all those fees are brought up for you, and then you just need to input your product cost. So that's the great thing. You don't have to necessarily calculate it. The calculator does it for you. Or without Jungle Scout, you can also use a Seller Central profit calculator. If you just type in, it's like just Seller Central profit calculator or something to that effect. Yeah. It's pretty much the first listing that will appear. So you can go use that one, and I believe you can just type in the ASIN or search for a particular product, and then it will pre-fill some of that information, and you would just input the product price. So I think, did you have that one up, Jake? Is that right?
Yeah, I could show that here. That's just like Lenny said, that is called the revenue calculator tool. So what Lenny mentioned here, this is the new version of it. There is an older version, but you could search by a product ASIN. So for example, if we found this ASIN here and we might want to sell it, we can simply, copy the ASIN, go back, where is it? The revenue calculator, search for it here. And let's see, so that product is matching. So this is basically the same product. I think it's having an issue with the variation. So that's the product that we're looking at. Its unit weight is around 4.2 pounds. These are the package dimensions here that Amazon is aware of. And you come down here and you see Amazon fulfillment. And you can also do FBM, your fulfillment, but we'll minimize that now just to look at Amazon's way of doing it. So you can calculate your Amazon fees here, referral fee, your fulfillment cost, and that would give you your total. You combine those two, so right around $10 or so. And what's interesting about this new method here is you actually see the fee storage cost by time of year. So January through September, there's lower cost involved. So keep your eye on this 13 cents. If you go to Q4, October through December, that jumps up to 42 cents. And comparing that to 13 cents, that is a huge jump. So something to consider is that quarterly difference in storage costs. But this is a great way to estimate your your FBA fees. And then you could even include some, cost of goods here. Maybe like we said, it cost $8 to sell it. There could be miscellaneous cost here, maybe shipping to Amazon. But we sort of calculated that into our cost of goods sold here. And yeah, so you could go to, let's see, how do we run this? Oh, it's already calculated. That's why. So when you add it in here, it's just taking in whatever number you put there. So 8, that would be our net margin, 43%. So, and your net profit. So that is how you can use that tool. Again, just type in the revenue calculator on Google, maybe like Amazon revenue calculator, and that should pop up.
Awesome. Yeah, such a cool tool. Okay, moving forward through the questions. Wissam asks, can we source in the USA and still be profitable? This is a question that we get a fair bit. I don't personally have any experience with sourcing products in the US. My understanding, and from talking to different people, is that it's typically harder as there's just sort of less products being sort of manufactured in the US. So it can be harder to find your product. And then also they're typically more expensive. So on Amazon, it can tend to be sort of like lower prices can win, or products tend to be a little bit lower priced overall. It's not to say that you can't compete with a higher, more premium type product, but basically it can be hard to compete on Amazon with a product from the US. if you're competing against people that are sourcing from, say, China or somewhere else that's cheaper. So I wouldn't say it's impossible, but from my understanding, it is more challenging. But, you know, of course, if you can find a product that is profitable, then that's great, because obviously you're cutting out a whole bunch of lead time and shipping time and saving on some of the costs there. So it's worth looking into, but you might find it a little bit challenging. So yeah, keep that in mind. Okay, so next question here. Joseph says, why are we only assessing the first 10 listings on Jungle Scout? In order to be successful, don't we have to check out all the listings that are competing against each other? Yeah, great question. So typically why we're talking about the top 10 listings is that we're assessing the niche we're basically assessing the products that mostly get purchased. I'm trying to think if I've worded that very well. Typically, most people, when they search for a product on Amazon, they'll, you know, the way people find products is they type in what they're after, and then most people will typically buy from that first page of results, or even in that first 10, or like the first, definitely the first page of results. It's fairly rare for people to like click through to the second or third page. So usually when you're looking to compete against one of these products, you're really looking to compete with one of those listings from the first page of results. So I personally think that you just mostly want to limit your limit your results to the first page of results. I think the first 10 are definitely the most popular in terms of the ones that people are most likely to buy. When you're going through the product research process like we did today, you would do something very similar where you want to try to find different product ideas and then add the top listings into the product tracker. Now, if you were to add all of the listings for every product idea, you would end up filling up your product tracker really quickly. So that's why we sort of recommend, if you find a product idea you like, add the top 10 listings, because those are the ones that you're most likely going to be competing against. And now each time you find a product idea, you're just adding 10 more listings into the product tracker. When you start to narrow that down, and let's say now you've only got maybe a top 3 or 4 products that you're wanting to hone in on, then by all means, start to add more listings in. Maybe you want to add the entire first page, like maybe that's 20 results or 20, 30 results. But I would particularly, I would do that later on when I've honed in on sort of the top, a short list of products that I'm looking at. Because otherwise, yeah, if you're adding in 30, 40 listings for every single product idea, you're going to fill up your product tracker really quickly, and you won't be able to analyze a whole bunch of different ideas. So that's kind of the thinking behind looking at the top 10 listings. Is there anything else you would add there, Jake?
Yeah, that was spot on. I guess the only other thing I would add here is you're also at a very high level just trying to see, if I were to get my product ranked within the top 10 of search results organically, what can I expect to make when you're looking at the monthly and daily sales? So that may be another reason why you just want to look at the top 10 initially, but then once you're honing in on a product niche, or you're even selling that product, typically I would recommend throwing a lot of your competitors in there, more than 10, filling that up as a way to just keep track of them. But yeah, start with 10 and then certainly feel free to add more.
Okay. All right, moving on through the questions here. Quinton says, sales is a good indicator for demand, but a lot of sales means it's hard to rank on the first page. Is there a magic number you are using? That's a really great point. So in terms, and I guess it kind of ties into what we were talking about just before, where most of the sales come from the first page of results. So when you're selling a product, typically your goal is to get onto the first page of results. That's when you start to see a sort of significant or decent amount of sales coming in. So it's like, how do you do that? Well, essentially, you need to try to match the number of sales that the people on the first page of results are getting. And so the point here is that if everyone on the first page of Amazon is selling 1,000 units per day, then really the way for you to get onto that first page of results is you kind of need to be doing that level of sales as well. And when you're first starting out, you're typically going to be starting with a cheaper price or offering discounts to try to get your sales volume up or sales velocity up to match that of the other competitors on that first page of results. So it is a good consideration that if the sales on the first page is really, really high, it might actually mean you're gonna have to spend a lot more of money, and it might be kind of difficult for you to match that. So that's where I would say if you're seeing that, you are likely gonna need a lot of capital to invest to kind of launch and kind of get onto that first page of results. So it may not be the right product for you if it's going to cost a lot of money. Now, is there a magic number? I don't have a magic number, unfortunately. It really does come down to what is your budget and how much can you afford to start out with. That's why I'd say if you stick to our general rule of thumb of like 300 sales on average per listing, then that's about 10 sales per day. So if you can find something in and around that, give or take, that means that even on a modest budget of maybe you're starting out with, I don't know, $3,000 or $4,000, usually getting 10 sales per day is fairly achievable for someone on that sort of budget. So that's why we kind of use that number. So maybe that's the magic number. I don't know, but that's what I would say there. Cool. I see that Nadia Baker was joining earlier. Jungle Scout has the most amazing customer support ever. Very responsive on social media. I love it. Plus, I love your webinars. Thanks for the kind words, Nadia, and a shout out for being one of our winners for our last webinar. Actually, it was the last one we did back, must have been early December. So yeah, shout out to Nadia. And let's see. I'm going to see if there's any new questions. We'll take a couple more before we wrap up. I know it's been a long one today, but I hope everyone has got some value here. Let's see. Christopher says, hey guys, thanks for this awesome webinar. For the UK market or indeed other markets, is it wise to translate US figures that you suggest, or does Jungle Scout have recommendations for the UK, etc.? Minimum sales price. Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say that the numbers are typically a little bit different in some of the other marketplaces. Certainly the US marketplace is the largest marketplace. So one area I would change the numbers a little bit is the demand that you look for. So again, we're looking for around about 300 sales per month in the US marketplace. In other marketplaces that are smaller, I would probably drop that number down, maybe 150 to 200 sales per month in some of the other marketplaces, or maybe 200 sales, but I would definitely drop the bar a little bit in terms of overall sales. That's probably the first filter I would change. I would start out, when it comes to price, I would probably just do a conversion to begin with, and so I would change that to say pounds for the UK market and kind of see what that price range is. So we would say, roughly $20 minimum to maybe around about $70 in US. I would maybe translate that to say pounds. And then I would, kind of ask yourself, does that range seem right to you? I'm not super familiar with the UK, unfortunately, or certainly not the other marketplaces, but yeah, I would start with a translation and then just kind of tweak it from there. And again, overlaying onto all of this, play with the numbers. We want to give you